So now within management information systems, we're going to talk a little bit about information. So let's look at information. Information is actually on a continuum of things about stuff. And it's one of those things where it starts off as data. Data is kind of the idea of just pieces of measurement and those type of things, which are largely just minuscule pieces that really by themselves have very little or no value. I mean, we collect data all the time and humanly process it. I mean, if we just look out of the window, we can sit there and see the fact of kind of if it's raining or not. The next thing is we may want to know what the temperature is, and if we want to sit there and kind of go a little deeper, we want to know if the clouds will break into rain sometime during the day so we can wear rain shoes and carry an umbrella. This would be up to the information, but the data that we're collecting initially by looking out the window is a snapshot of what's out there, and sometimes it means a lot and sometimes it means very little. So until we give it some type of useful structure or organization, that data is largely meaningless and confusing, if anything. But once we have information and we know certain patterns and things like that, this begins to breed the idea of a knowledge about something that information brings. So timing and patterns and those type of things of information begin to blossom into knowledge, and then we get into the area of wisdom, where you've seen things before, you understand them, and now you can basically put them into your business plan and see what the future holds. So let's look at an example. One of my favorite examples about collecting data. One of the new products out there on the market right now is this Apple Watch. And of course I don't show you the business end of the watch, which is the timepiece. I show you the back side of the watch, which are the sensors that the Apple Watch collects data from. And you kind of go, okay, so what data is it collecting? Well, among other things, it's collecting your heart rate. It can basically collect data about your heart rate. So the question becomes, okay, so what happens with heart rate data? And so what we have, your heart rate, what it means, and where on Apple Watch you'll find it. So the idea is that then they begin to put it into a more meaningful environment to show you how your heart rate changes over time and days. And so this is kind of one of the first shots over the bow with having data collected about your physiological being on a perpetual basis, which really in the future of medicine is going to be earth-shattering, because it's the idea of being able to measure things that are important. We'll be able to predict your health over the next few hours, months maybe. So the idea is it's really important, but the idea is that the Apple Watch is actually collecting this data. So at this point, it's data turned into a low grade of information, because I kind of defy you to tell me kind of what, if any, decisionable, actionable information we have that's displayed on this chart. Okay, it tells you heart rate minimum, maximum, 100 beats per minute today. I guess that's an average. Shows you over time what it looks like. But there may be a physician among you that can sit there and kind of go, this dip here is is symptomatic of something that we need to look into. And that's where we get into this idea of knowledge. Okay, and your doctor has knowledge about the heart rate and things like that, and you and I don't. The next thing is that maybe at some point with Apple, they will put that knowledge into their watch so that it can notify you of good or bad things that come along. And after you have looked at these things for many years, you wind up having the wisdom of knowing, what actionable type things you might be able to derive just from heart rate. So this whole idea with information again is that it's on a continuum of data which has very little value to wisdom which has tremendous value. And so we just refer to it generally in the area as information. And the one thing about information as the collection of an organization of data, and context sensitive, time sensitive, is that it's actionable. You can do something with it. And in the organization for management, the idea is like sales data over time is a lot more valuable than just sales data for an instant. So that's the idea behind the informational piece of management information systems.